What's up, guys? What's up? Gosh, I feel so much better. Can y'all just believe I had a baby, what, 5 days ago? Like, wow. So today I'm gonna tell you guys my labor and delivery story with Mr. Israel. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell you guys. So let's get started. So on the 19th, I was having pain, and it was bearable pain. Like, I could bear with it, but I was just kind of like, I want to just check, make sure. So I just took me to the hospital, and I got there and I was only 3 centimeters dilated, and I was like, oh, that sucks. But I felt better because 2-3 days ago I was only 2 centimeters dilated at my doctor's appointment. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm a 3, happy. So she told me to walk around the hospital for about an hour to see if anything changes. So I walked around the hospital for an hour. She checked me again. I was only 3.5. So she was like, oh, you're not progressing, so I'm going to send you home. You're having 1 or 2 contractions every 5 to 15 minutes. They're really not, close. And I was like, no. Like, I felt like I needed to stay, and it was painful a little bit. So she sent me home anyway. So as I got home, it was kind of hard to go to sleep that night. I was still having a little bit of pain. It was really hard to sleep. So I woke up the next day. And now today is the 21st. No, wow, the 20th. Woke up the next day on the 20th, and I'm like, wow, I'm still having some pain. And I was like, do I need to go to work still? I'm like, no, you can go to work. I'll be fine. I don't think I'm gonna go into labor. Because the next day was my due date, which was the 21st. So I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think he's gonna come out of here. I was feeling kind of discouraged at that point. And then I had a doctor's appointment on Monday. So I was like, I'll tell him Monday to strip my membranes again. So you can go to work. I'll be fine. He said, okay. So throughout the day, I was like, okay, these contractions are really starting to hurt. And they were really getting really closer and closer together. So I'm like, okay, this is really unbearable. So I'm like, you know what? I'm still thinking in my head, like, I don't need to go to the hospital. And then I told Isaac's mom, and she was like, I'm going to come by and get braided because I think that you can use some rest. So I'm like, okay. So I took Brandon outside for about 30 minutes until she came, and I was walking with him, and I had like 1 or 2 contractions while I was outside with him. And I was like, ooh, okay. So she came, and she got Brayden. And it's like, as soon as Brayden left and I tried to rest, I couldn't. I was like leaning over the birth ball, like, okay, in so much pain. I had to get down on all 4s, and I told Isaac, and he's like, do I need to come home? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think you need to come home. I think I'll be fine. Mind you, he got off at 7, and it was 2. So I'm like, no, I think I'll be fine. I'm okay. And I told his mom, and she's like, no, I think, you need to go back to the hospital because you're in pain, and it's taking your breath away, and you're on all 4s. So I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. So Isaac comes home from work anyway, and he's like, I think you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm laying on the bed, and I had a contraction, so I get down off the bed, and I'm leaning over the bed. I'm like in pain. And he's like, you know what? Get dressed. You're going to the hospital. I'm taking you to the hospital. I don't care what you say. So I'm like, okay. So he gets dressed, and then I get dressed, and he takes me to the hospital. And while we're in the car on the way to the hospital, I was having contractions where I was screaming through them. It was hard to breathe through them. I was in just so much freaking pain. And he was just like looking at me like, okay, yeah, this is a real thing. I'm like, I think this is a real thing. But I was just so scared to go to the hospital because I'm thinking they're going to send me back home. In my head, while we're on the way there, even though I'm having these contractions, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not thinking it's kind of the real thing, because I'm like, they're going to send me home. So I got there, and walking through the hospital door, and the security guard comes up, and he gives Isaac a chair that rolls, the chair that has the wheels in the bottom. He gives Isaac that because he didn't have a wheelchair. And he's like, go ahead and roll her in the labor and delivery, section where they take the expectant mothers that think they're in labor or are in labor until they get a room. So I'm like, okay, sit in the chair, and he pushes me there, and I'm just like, and we're at the front desk, and she's asking me questions, and I can't even answer them because these contractions are so bad. So Isaac's answering the questions for me and, helping out. And she's like, okay. So she gets me in the room. She checks me. I'm only 3.5. So I'm disappointed. I'm like, you know what? They're going to send me home. So she moves up to the machine, and she's just standing there staring at my contraction. She's like, wow, you just had a really long contraction just now. And I'm sitting there like, yeah. She's like, okay, give it an hour and then I'm gonna come back and check you, okay? I'm like, okay. And Isaac's like, I don't want y'all to send her home because she's in pain. She can't go home with this pain again. So basically telling her, like, I'm not gonna let y'all send her home again. So she's like, okay, I understand. And so she leaves the room, and my contractions are just getting closer and closer and just stronger. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like I'm over here screaming and moaning, and I'm like telling Isaac, can I please get up, please get up, please get up? And he's like, no, you can't get up, sit down. Because when you're about to have a baby, it feels like you have to poop really bad. So I felt horrible sitting down. It felt, oh my God, a pain. So I'm like, no, I tried to roll over my side. It did not work. So I'm like, I need to get up and lean over the bed. I can't. That's why Isaac, I'm like, can you please go back and get her? Like, I'm begging her, like, before the hour was up to go back and get her because I was in so much pain. So she came back, and she's like, what's wrong? Do you need to switch positions? And I'm just like, she's like, it's okay, you can switch positions. So I'm on my back, and I get up to get on my side again to see if that would help. And I kind of lean over the bed, and she's like, just give it 20 more minutes and I'm going to check you again, okay? And I'm like, okay. So she comes back in there. She's like, let me check you. So she checks me, and she's like, oh, you're 5 centimeters. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So they're going to keep me. So at that point, me and Isaac got so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having a baby today. We're having a baby today. And Isaac was just so excited. He was just so happy that we finally got admitted to the hospital to have a baby. So I was like, yes. So as soon as she walked away, it's like the contractions just went, like, just, I don't know. It was just like they just hit my ass hard. Like, just slapped me. Just like that. Hard. I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, in, like, pain, really bad pain. And she comes in and she's like, it's okay, you're doing a good job, you're doing so good. And she looks at Isaac, she's like, she's doing so good, you're doing so good, just breathe. And I'm sitting there like, I cannot still be 5 centimeters. So I'm like, so at this point I'm like, there's no way I'm still 5 centimeters. Like, it was literally 20 minutes later. Like, I was 5 centimeters, and 20 minutes later I'm like, there's no way I can still be 5 centimeters. So she's like, let me check you again so we don't have any surprise babies on the bed, because she's seen that I was like in excruciating pain. She checked me. She's like, oh, she's complete. She's 10 centimeters. I jumped from 5 to 10 centimeters in 20 minutes. And I was like, what the heck? And the other nurse came in. She's like, she's what? And she's like, yeah, in 20 minutes she dropped from a 5 to a 10. So she's like, we gotta hurry up and get her upstairs in the room. I guess she had to call whatever doctor was on duty to tell him, she's ready to deliver so we can get her a room. So it took about 2 minutes, but it felt like the longest 2 minutes of my life. And Isaac was like, what's taking so long with getting you a room? Blah, blah, blah. He's getting mad because he's like, he can see that I'm in pain. I need to push this baby out. So they finally give me a room. They take me upstairs, and as I'm sitting in the bed, all the nurses come in, the doctors come in, and they put my legs on the little stair things, to help me. And they're like, okay, push. Like, as they're watching the contractions, they're like, push now. Hold your breath, put your chin down, count to 10. So they're, helping me. I did like 2 pushes, and then he's like, stop pushing. And I'm like, why? I got scared, like, is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with him? Why am I not pushing anymore? So he's like, she still has a lot of cervix left. She's still 8 centimeters. She has a whole bunch of cervix left. So I'm like, that's weird. So as he walks away, the other nurse checks me, and she's like, no, she's 10 centimeters dilated. She just has a lot of cervix. She's not an 8, she's a 10. And so she's like, I'm so sorry. You're just going to have to wait a minute. You can't push because you have too much cervix right there. And he said if I pushed, then that would mean it would slow things down. So I was like, okay. At that point, I got scared, thinking I'm gonna have to have a C-section because my cervix is too thick. So I just got discouraged and scared. So she told me to like kind of roll over on my side a little bit and sit up to make him come down to get that cervix out the way. So as I'm on my side, I'm like, I have to push, and then the other nurse is like, no, you still have a lot of cervix, just breathe, and all the other nurses left. It was just her in the room, in RN. So I'm like, okay. So I'm on my side, and I try to push 2 times, and I just like stop pushing. I'm like, I can't, like, my body is just letting him come out. I can't just stop pushing. Plus, this is natural, all natural, no epidural, no pain medication, no nothing. So my body is just doing it, just letting him come out. I couldn't just hold it. It wasn't like a bad moment, like, oh, let me just hold my poop in. No, he was just sliding out. So I'm like, I can't. She's like, just breathe. And so I put my hand down there because I felt like he was coming out. And then I just like, move your hand. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, okay. So as I'm laying in the bed, I'm like, just cussing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm apologizing to the nurse because I'm cussing, but it hurts so bad. And so I was like, you know what? This is his head. I'm like, his head is coming out. She's like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. This is his head. And she's like, she looked and she's like, oh my God. Like, she freaked out and she hit the little panic button. And as he's coming out, she grabs his head and tries to push it back in and tells me to hold it, stop pushing. And I can't. And the other nurse runs in and she moves her hand. She's like, stop. She's like, it's okay. Keep pushing. He's right there. And as I pushed, it's like I did like 2-3 pushes. He just slid out. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it felt so good. Like I took the biggest dump. Like Brayden, like I took the biggest dump. That's how it felt. Okay, it felt great. He was out and she was like, were you expecting a big baby? And I'm like, no, I'm not expecting a big baby. Like, no. I predicted him to be small, so did my doctor. So I'm like, okay. And she weighed him. She's like, he's 8 pounds and 5 ounces. And I'm like, what? Where did an 8-pound baby fit in there? Because I really look small. So I'm like, what the heck? And also, Mr. Israel peed on me as soon as he came out. His pee landed right on my private part, like right on there. He just peed as soon as he came out. And I was like, wow, okay. Just pee on me. And then, of course, he's 19 inches. And then she gave him to me and was like, are you breastfeeding? And I was like, yes. She said, that's good. So I started breastfeeding him and he just latched on right away. Perfect. She was like, wow, he's a pro. He knows how to do this. Because, you know, some babies really don't know how to do the breastfeeding thing. Some babies need a little bit more help. But with him, he just latched on. He was good. I was like, cha-ching. I was happy. I was happy. But I tell you guys, that was the most painful labor ever. It was the most painful one out of all my kids. And he was the biggest baby out of all my kids. So I was like, I am really second guessing ever having any more kids because that was really painful. With Brayden, I did natural, but it didn't hurt. With Israel, it hurt like hell. And surprisingly, I didn't tear, didn't rip, nothing, didn't need no stitches. Surprisingly, I was like, wow, really? Okay. I can say the also bad part about the labor was after when I got all those horrible cramps. Like, oh my God, it was like a 9-month worth of not having a period cramps. That's what they were. They were horrible. Anyway, that's my labor and delivery story with Mr. Israel. I love him so much and he's just so cute. And I guess I'll show you guys him. He sleeps, so I don't really want to pick him up, but I'll, you know, get the camera and show you guys because he's knocked out in his little swing. She'll probably be up in about an hour, maybe 30 minutes to eat. He's over there sleeping. Yeah, look at that cute little man. And all that hair, look at that. Oh my goodness. Bye guys. Make sure you subscribe. You can also watch my other video of him coming. Okay. watch my other video. He's here. You can also watch some video of meeting him. So don't forget to watch those. I'll put them down below in the description little box. So yeah, the joys of breastfeeding. Anyway, I've also forgot to mention that TMI, but you know how in Brayden's labor and delivery story I pooped myself, but with Israel I peed myself and thought it was my water. I was literally on all fours in the bed, and as I was peeing myself, I thought it was my water, and I'm asking Isaac, is it my water? Did my water just break? And he's like, Oh my gosh, I went to a full 10 without my water breaking, so they had to break my water. So I was like, oh, I peed myself. Embarrassing. And also my eyelashes fell off during labor, and Isaac gonna be like, hey babe, your eyelashes fell off. Like, really? Shut up. I know, shut up. Okay, now I'm done. You guys can go. Oh wait, one more thing. So as Israel came out, Isaac was like, oh my god, babe, he's pale like me. Bye guys, now I'm really gone. I know you guys want to look at him. Bye for real now.